story in the Bible about the rich young man that comes to Jesus, and he says, what do I have to do to follow you? And Jesus said, give back all that you have. Now the key to that is give back all that you had. So it wasn't the money that the young man had that was evil. It was the way in which he procured the money that was evil. And he was a lot of times in those days, because it was a zero-sum economy, they didn't have capitalism. So when you ran across people that were wealthy, they either inherited all that money or they were very good, in essence, thieves. And that man that was speaking to Jesus had stolen all that money from people, probably through taxation or whatever. I don't know. So when they say that it's easier for a rich person, for a camel to fit through the eye of the needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven, it's not about wealth. It's about the state of your mind and your heart and how you acquired that wealth. And I think that it's the same parallel here.
It is. Hi, Nahai. Thank you for joining us. And that actually is a good measure. Let's say that for some reason God blessed you with $1 million. And somebody claiming to be Jesus came to you and said, and you said, what do I have to do to inherit the kingdom of God? And he said, give your money away.
No. Well,
If you falter at giving that money away, that money has become your God. You have to be able to walk away from that in a heartbeat. Once you have that attitude, it won't be your God. It's the same with your cell phone. It's the same with anything. If you're not willing to walk away from it, if God asks you to, then that has become your God.
right.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. Where did we leave off? Chirp, chirp? Is it 15? No.
We got down
We're
to
down in 25, I think.
20, 21?
25, I think. Yeah, 25.
She did read in 25, so maybe.
All right. Somebody start at 25 and let's do that.
But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord,
Oh, that's right, because I said there it is.
and
There's
did
the scripture.
worse than all that were before him.
Ouch.
For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin, to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Omri which he did, and his might that he showed, are there now written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel.
And there's the physical.
So Omri slept with his fathers and was buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son went in his stead.
Okay. Somebody else take over 29.
In the 38th year of Asa, king of
Okay, now
Judah.
hang on a minute. So obviously Asa, the king of Judah, continues to reign because he keeps using, instead of using years and measuring how long the kings in Judah are reigning, they're saying in this year of Asa in Judah, and this year of Asa, and so now he's in the 38th year of Asa. Okay, go ahead.
And Judea, Ahab, son of Amar, became king of Israel, and he reigned in Samaria over Israel 22 years. Ahab, son of Amar, did more evil in the eyes of the Lord than any of those before him.
Wow, and remember, God said that about the king that was just before him.
Right, yeah.
So this guy did not only that, but he did more and more. Wow, okay.
He not only considered it trivial to commit the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, but he also married Jezebel, daughter of
Ethbaal,
king of the
Sidonians.
and became the serve of Baalah. and
Okay,
worshiped
hang
him.
on. Remember I told you that there was two
Fertility.
gods that they did. One was Ashraf, the other one is Baal. And Baal will be the bane of existence for Israel all the way through the Bible. Because Baal is the one that they do most of the evil in. Ashraf is also the one for the females, but Baal is the one that really causes them the most issues. And here we see it. It says they served Baal and worshipped him. Verse 32, go ahead.
He set up an altar for Baal in the temple of Baal that he built in Samaria.
Okay, so right there we can see that he took a fertility god, which is a false god, built him a temple in Samaria, and started worshiping him there. Obviously, he did very much evil in the eyes of God.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And also made Asherah pole and did more to provoke the Lord, the king of Israel. He angered, then did all of the kings of Israel before
Okay,
him.
so not only did he build a wooden thing to Baal and a temple for Baal, but then he took another god, Ashraf, and made an idol to him. Now, let's go back when we were talking about in the book of Exodus. Remember when God led him out of Egypt and he was talking with Moses up on the mountain, and God said, your people have sinned, and Moses goes running down, and Aaron had built a cow.
Yeah.
Remember that? Out of gold, and they were worshiping this cow. What did God do?
He told Moses, look at your people. He told him to look what they're doing. And then Moses got angry and he told him he hasn't even left them that long and they can't behave or whatever.
It was made of gold. He made them ground it up and made them eat it. And then God killed the offending people for building a cow out of gold. So here we are, 1,500 years later, and this king has built a temple to one God and built an idol and forced people to worship him, then picked another god, made another idol, and had them worship him. God ain't gonna be too happy with this guy. I don't want to be this guy. Go ahead, verse 34.
In Ahab's time, Hill of Bethel rebuilt Jericho. He laid its foundation at the cost of his firstborn son, Abram, and he set up its gates in the cost of his youngest son, Sigra, in accordance to the word of the Lord spoken by Joshua, son of Nun. Now we're going into 17.
Okay.
Now Elijah and the Tishabites from Tishabee in Gilead said to Ahab, "This is the Lord, the God of Israel lives, who I serve. There it will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except at my word." Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah, "Leave there, turn eastward and run and hide in the Kerith ravine east of the Jordan. You will drink from the brook, and I have ordered the ravens to feed you there." So he did what the Lord had told him. He
Okay,
went-
so why is God doing this?
Because he's not, well, the other people so don't get what God's taking care of Elijah, but not the other people.
That's exactly right, because Elijah is going to be a major, major prophet for God. And God is going to take care of him. Elijah is going to do a lot of things for God. And God is so upset because of what these last 2 or 3 kings have done. He's one of the ways that you can tell when God in the Old Testament, after the desert, after the Jews get into the land of milk and honey, when he goes to punish them, and I think still today, God uses nature. He uses storms, he uses rain, he uses wind, He uses whatever is at his disposal at the time. So, if these people have sinned, God's just going to dry their land up. There will be no food, no water, no animals, no nothing until God decides to relent. And when you think about that, let's say that God did that for 1 year and everything dried up, okay? The actual ramifications from a drought for 1 year will take 2 to 3 additional years to bring back what was there.
Yeah.
So a 1 year drought will equal a 4 or 5 year curse. And it's the same with the hurricane. If you have a hurricane that destroys everything on land, I mean, we have technology today and it still takes a couple of years to build back. And that's with concentrated effort and a lot of money. All right? So God is getting ready to do some really nasty stuff to these people for all the sins they've done. But he wants to take care of Elijah. So he's saying, go down there, I will provide water in there, and the birds will bring you food. And we're going to wrap up here, but I want you to think about this. When we read stories like this in the Bible, we brush over the fact of what God just told him. Ravens are going to feed you. If God said to you, okay, I'm going to destroy Springfield, and you need to go out by the Sangamon River and camp out there, and when it all dries up, there will be a little bit of water there for you to drink, and I'm going to have some eagles come and bring you some food. Are you going?
Yeah.
Well, if I know it's God and not mine.
Yeah.
But think about that.
Yeah.
You're relying on birds of the air to feed you, and God knows for how long. Could be a while. Think of the faith that takes.
It takes a lot.
Well, when you see Springfield in shambles, you'll be, if you hadn't headed there yet, you'd be headed there pretty quick.
Right. So, and I want to close on this. I'm going to go kind of down a rabbit trail. Somebody mark where we are.
It's got to know. We're in
17 verse 5.
5.
17 verse 5.
Okay.
We talk a lot about, and most preachers will preach about, the law in the Old Testament, and that's true. But there's so much here about faith. What we just talked about was faith. That these ravens are going to feed this guy. And if everything's dried up, where is he going to get the food to bring? And how is 2 little birds going to bring enough food to feed a grown man?
Well, the ravens have to be fed and watered too, because they have to stay away alive, so.
So let's bring this down to today. Okay? And let's not talk physically. Let's make this spiritually. So let's say that spiritually you were dried up. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let's say that you're there. How are you going to get out of your dry land or your desert or your drought? How are you going to get out of that spiritually and get back to where you can get fed? How's that going to happen?
By fasting and praying and getting God's word.
Stepping out in faith and believing.
You are 1/3 rate. What'd you say?
Stepping out in faith and believing, trusting,
Prayer,
prayer,
Tithe.
reading His word, tithing.
prayer, tithe, some sort of service, church, Bible study, something like that. Oh, there's one more. There's one more.
The four,
Prayer.
Prayer,
the
tithing.
I call this the 4 pedestals that you have to have. Now, there are other disciplines in Christianity, and fasting is one of them. There's nothing wrong with fasting. It's a good spiritual discipline. It achieves a lot. But you can still spiritually be fed and grow without doing that.
Really?
But with these 4, you cannot grow,
Time in the Word.
you cannot mature, you cannot be fed if you do not do these 4 on a regular basis. And we've got them out here, but I'm going to, for those of you that want to write this down and remember, here they are. You must pray. You must attend church of some type.
Type.
You must tithe,
We've done it before.
and you must read God's word. You can't do 3 of the 4.
I do all that.
Now, that does not mean that you have to spend 30 minutes a day doing each one of those. We are human, and Jesus makes it very plain. Rules were made for humans, not humans for rules. Don't bend yourself in a pretzel trying to keep the rules. But on a day-to-day basis, you need to know, and whenever I disciple somebody, I tell them, the hardest one, believe it or not, is prayer. And here's the easy way to start that. Before you eat at every meal, even if you just bow your head and say a stupid prayer like, over the lips and through the gums, look out, Tommy, here it comes. All right? Just, but that will get you in the habit of prayer. If I sit down to eat now, and I don't remember praying, I get a huge amount of guilt, and I instantly stop what I'm doing and I pray right then. And it's not the words. It's not what you say. It's the heart. And all 4 of those things that I just told you, all 4 of those are about the heart. You read God's word, it's like watering the seeds in your heart.
Even if it doesn't seem like what you're reading may seem really dry and pointless, and you're not getting, like, I like to read Proverbs because it resonates with me. Like, I really feel like it's juicy, you know what I mean? And then there's parts of the Bible that are, but even if it's not so juicy, so to speak, it never comes back void.
I want to interrupt here. We got a question on here. Sheila wants to know, how often do we do this? I assume you mean Bible study. It's every Tuesday at 8 o'clock.
7 o'clock for food.
7 o'clock if you want to come here and have food with us, which, by the way, I gave you thanks before you came back up for dinner. Thank you. But if you don't know those 4, I want you to write those down and remember those. Okay?
We've done this before.
And right, and it's really not about the rule, and that's what most people can't get past. They go through this thing where I have to pray, I have to read the Bible, and pretty soon it becomes about rules. That's not about the rules. It's about the process of changing your heart from being. If you sit down to eat, okay, let me tell you a story. Little girl goes next door to eat with the neighbors. Kids do that stuff all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Little Christian girl sits down to eat. The whole family's around the table. Mom's shoveling out the food, and they all just dig in and start eating. And the little Christian girl goes, "Wow, you guys just start eating just like my dogs." Think about that. Think about that. They don't have the heart of thanks. Like I said, no matter what the prayer is, if your heart is of the right make, you will have thanks to give because you are provided food. When you read God's word, you don't read God's word because you're wanting to learn facts. I had a lady in my class one time. She was so intent on being smart and learning so much facts. One of the most spiritually dead people I ever met. It's not about the facts. It's about the hunger for God's word. Okay?
John,
That's what I.
go on.
No, go ahead.
John and I were talking about a movie that we seen, it's been some time ago, with Christy Alley and Tim Allen, where they had went to the Amish country, pretending to be Amish. And they asked Tim Allen to pray. Well, he says, "Good God, great food, let's eat."
Love Tim Allen. Okay, so any questions? Okay. We're running a little bit over, but we got started really, really late tonight, guys. So I'm sorry. We'll wrap it up here with prayer.